So you can see right now how the people is just verbatim repeating whatever the media tells them. There are two candidates in the competition for the Democratic primary, and ultimately, when the people go to the ballot, there'll be two names that they could choose for their Democratic candidate for governor. Jeff Young is a true progressive. Jeff Young has progressive credentials, been fighting for the environment for the last 20-something years. And actually just got word that the I Love Mountains rally isn't going to let Jeff Young speak. Well, Jack Conway is in favor of mountaintop removal. He's suing the EPA. So you love mountains? If you love mountains, you cannot love Jack Conway. If you love the environment, you can't love Jack Conway. He's suing the EPA. He is in favor of mountaintop removal. He voted for the Iraq War. He was in favor of the Iraq War. He's in favor of the Patriot Act. He's for mountaintop removal. He's against democracy. He's against freedom of speech. And he's voted for the Bush tax cuts. Is that what we need? Let the rich have their day in the sun? Let them get away with as much as possible? That's what's going on right now in Kentucky. The rich are paying less than their fair share. The rich are only paying 5.5%. The 1%, the top 1% are only paying 5.5%, while the middle 20% are paying 11%. Of course he cares about the rich. Of course he cares about the wealthy. With all those Republican stances, how can we even be sure that Jack Conway is a Democrat? He's an archaic, old Democrat. He's a conservative Democrat. And being a conservative Democrat, he's mostly more Republican. He's going to run right this entire election. Anybody that understands elections understands that this is the moment when Jeff Young gets to define the Democratic Party. What does the Democrat Party actually believe in? Do they care about the poor? Do they care about people with disabilities? Do they care about the soldiers that come home with PTSD? Do they care about these people? Do they care about Obamacare? Do they care about health insurance for Kentucky's people? Jack Conway has voted in Republican for too many issues. And the biggest issue, the one that sticks in my craw the most, is his racist Nixon and Reagan war on drugs. He's a proponent for the war on drugs. He's been throwing people in jail in Kentucky for the last 7 years. He was also wanting to kill Ralph Bays. But the racist war on drugs, first of all, the war on drugs is just bad, period. It makes absolutely no sense. You're incentivizing drug dealers to go out and do their damage. The war on drugs only helps the police and it helps the drug dealers. So you want to kill two birds with one stone? Get rid of the war on drugs. We as a nation spend more money on the militarism for the war on drugs, just as much money as we spend for the demand. So while, say, Colombia, they have all this money from America that they're fighting a war on drugs, yet who's the purchaser of Colombia's cocaine? The number one purchaser is Americans. The war on drugs has been declared for about 100 years. Have you got rid of the marijuana, the meth, the heroin? In fact, he's the reason why there's such a heroin epidemic. Everybody got addicted to those pills, and then when they had no pills to satisfy their need, they went reaching for the streets, and they got their hillbilly heroin, their Oxycontin, in heroin form. Have we got rid of the drugs? You keep trying to attack the supply side, but we're not attacking the demand side. And the demand side says that Kentuckians want their drugs. They want their drugs in a high amount, and part of it, maybe drugs are just fun. Maybe drugs are good. But the bigger part of it is the poverty and the lack of opportunities. What are people supposed to do? Their lives are miserable. So they go ahead and get themselves a little needle and shoot themselves up. And that's what's going to help their lives. Their lives are miserable. So if we want to affect the demand side, we make Kentucky the greatest place ever to live. We increase the middle class. We have a robust middle class economy. We tax the rich. We buy gas stations, and we buy Humana, and we buy profitable corporations, and then take the profits from the corporations and give it to the public coffers. We're spending, all we would be doing is taking power away from the police, which we live in a police state, so that would be a good thing. There should be body cameras on the police officers. Just look at Samantha Ramsey in Boone County. You got police officers shooting children in Kentucky, and so, they have too much power. They're going around just killing people for no reason. They don't even need a reason to search your car. They don't even need a reason to to go up and just shoot you for no reason. And so they have too much power. And the war on drugs, it makes me think of the Tupac quote, you got a war on the streets, you got a war in the Middle East, you don't have a war on poverty, but they got a war on drugs, so the police can bother me. So it's criminal. It's absolute criminal. It's racist. The war on drugs is criminal, and the war on drugs is racist. The war on drugs is racist because if you're black in Kentucky, you're 6 times more likely to be arrested for simple marijuana possession than if you were white. That's racist. That's racism. Why does Kentucky's jails, why is there a disproportionate amount of black people in those jails? Because of Jack Conway being a racist criminal, throwing people in jail for doing nothing wrong, for hurting nobody. The law is there to protect us from one injuring another person. The law is there to protect one person from injuring another person. If there's no victim, then there's no crime. If I'm sitting at a bar drinking a beer and Jack Conway comes up and he beats the shit out of me and throws me on the ground and puts me into a cop car and locks me in a cage, he's the criminal. Jack Conway's the criminal, not me. I'm minding my own business. Having a beer at the bar? Since when in America did we lose the right to our own body? So that's Jack Conway. Jack Conway has been throwing thousands of people into Kentucky prisons for simple marijuana possession. He doesn't care about medicinal marijuana. He doesn't care about the medical benefits of curing cancer, glaucoma. Kentucky is the #1 state for cancer. Nausea, anxiety. There are so many medicinal properties for marijuana, and he's against full-blown legalization for recreation. He's against legalization for medical marijuana. He's even against hemp. He doesn't even think hemp should be legal. This guy's a dinosaur. This guy's going to be running to the right. You think he's going to say anything exciting or anything meaningful this entire campaign? He is going to separate the Democrats today with the so-called Unity Festival. He's going to separate the Democrats for many decades. You're going to get your true blue Democrats, those who don't mind selling Obama and the working class people out. And then you'll get your populist, progressive Democrats. You'll get your old Democrats, your old Republican Democrats, those who have, all the views that Jack Conway, what does Jack Conway do? What are the only liberal views he has? Minimum wage? Yeah, we already saw that with Allison's campaign. Minimum wage? You got to have more than just minimum wage. But he doesn't have to appeal to the liberal base. He doesn't have to appeal to any of the Democrats. If you just assume you're going to vote for him no matter what, you've already given your power away. You hold your vote back. That's how you have power in politics. You hold your vote back. So to just jump on board immediately, Jack Conway is going to throw the liberals under the bus. He's already said, bragging about suing Obama, suing the EPA. Yeah, I voted for him, but then I sued him, right? So to be a Democrat in Kentucky, you got to throw Obama right underneath that bus. And Obama's done a lot of good things for Kentucky. Obamacare is one of the best things that Kentucky's ever done for Kentuckians. Over 500,000 Kentuckians now have health insurance. That's amazing. That's incredible. Poor Kentucky now has health insurance. They never had health insurance, and now they got it. They could go to the hospital. But don't ask Jack Conway to defend those positions. He does it secretly, on the sly. He's not even in favor of single-payer health care. We need to protect Kentucky's Medicaid. We need to protect Kentucky's schools. We need to protect the college monies and The financing right now, that's your three biggest groups that Frankfurt's budget pays for: Medicaid, K through 12, and college. All those should be protected. The money, K through 12, all that's going to stay there. Medicaid's going to stay protected. This guy, he doesn't even believe in single-payer health care. Of course, Kentucky should have their own health care system. Of course, Kentucky should be able to figure out a way to pay for it. With $34 billion in debt because of the pension crisis, they're not taking care of the teachers and the workers that have been in government and taking care of their pensions, making sure they get, their just desserts. They put money into that pension. They should get some of that money back. But Frankfurt went ahead and borrowed it. He's at the very heart of the dysfunction of Frankfurt. Jack Conway is. So he's not in favor of single payer. He's a moderate, and only a moderate liberal in some respects. And those liberal positions are going to get thrown away. He's in favor of Employee Free Choice Act right now. He's in favor of abortion right now. He thinks that it should be rare, safe, and legal. And he's also in favor of minimum wage. Those are your three liberal issues that Jack Conway is going to snag all the Democrats on and then become a Republican for the rest of the time that he's running around Kentucky saying, vote for me, vote for me. For now. Since he's running against the Republicans, they always go running towards each other, and they try to, show that they essentially agree on most issues, and they try to run as some sort of pragmatic moderate. Oh, I'm a pragmatic moderate. That's where I stand on the issues. Well, to be a pragmatic moderate, that would mean you actually take all the opinions into account and then you make your own decision. He's made too many pro-Republican decisions. He's tainted. He's he's one of the aristocrats. So, his interview is weird because he's like, if you try to link me with the National Democrats, it won't work. Of course it won't work. Some of those are actually true liberals. He's not a liberal. He's a conservative Republican. So being a conservative Republican, he doesn't care if you try to link him with the National Republicans. Well, I'm not like Nancy Pelosi because I sued the EPA. Yeah, Nixon created the EPA. So Jack Conway's to the right of Nixon. On the war on drugs, Kim Jong-un has legalized marijuana. He's to the right. He is more fascist totalitarian than Kim Jong-un. More fascist totalitarian than North Korea. He doesn't care that he's racist. He doesn't care that he perpetuates a racist drug wars. He doesn't care that he's a criminal racist. Piece of shit. He doesn't give a crap. He likes the power. He likes the prestige. It's all about the money and power to him. Whatever he needs to say to Kentucky, you just look at the way he talks. Basically, he's like, Kentucky, what do you want me to say? I'll say whatever you want me to say, Kentucky. He has no convictions. He has no beliefs, and he's going to lose just like Allison did because Allison didn't stand up for her beliefs and say what the reasons, this is what I support, and these are the reasons why I support this. He's not doing that. In this article here, you actually read about how he says, that he's declared war on coal. And he's going to sue, Obama and the EPA and the environmentalists. And he's going to make sure that William H. Spence, Pennsylvania, keeps Kentucky's coal. We don't own our own coal. Kentucky coal is up in Pennsylvania right now. That's what he's protecting. King Coal Barons. He's protecting the King Coal Barons. He's protecting the corporations, not the unions, not the workers, and not the communities. He doesn't care about the mountains. He's in favor of mountaintop removal. He's suing the EPA. Doesn't care about all the dirty sulfur that coal plants are producing. Coal isn't losing because of Obama's war on coal. Coal is losing because it's a dirty substance. It's one of the, we keep it. It's a market just like oil. And we can keep the coal for ourselves. And there should be a law. There should be a law that's passed that all coal in Kentucky, it has to be for Kentuckians, by Kentuckians, of Kentuckians. All the coal. That coal is Kentucky's coal. And it should be to the benefit of us and every one of us. Every one of Kentucky's citizens should benefit off of Kentucky coal. My electric is the exact same price across the nation. What is Kentucky coal? How does that help me? How's Kentucky coal help me? It doesn't. So Jack Conway is against freedom of speech. He's against democracy. He's in favor of perpetual empire. He was for all the wars Obama declared. He was for all the wars Bush declared. Basically, Jack Conway couldn't find a war he didn't like. Jack Conway loves perpetual empire. 900 military bases in 150 countries. That fits Conway just right. Pretty boy Floyd. Well, look, he smiles at the cameras. Yeah, you could just tell, though, he's fake. He's not telling the truth. He does have an auticity problem. He's going to pretend to be, he's going to be like Hal Heiner. Hal Heiner has an auticity problem. In Kentucky, I'm just like you. You are me and I am you. Oh, well, I guess it's true since you said it. So Jack Conway is slimy. He's going to divide the Democrats between the Republican Democrats and the Progressive Democrats. Progressive Democrats who actually have convictions, who actually stand for something, who actually believe in something. Not this blank slate running to the right, you know, being a Republican-like candidate. You can't out-Republican the Republicans, so why don't you just out-Democrat the Democrats? That's my strategy. I'm going to out-Democrat the Democrats. I'm going to tell everybody to become Democrats and then to vote and become, you know, vote for Jeff Young. So if you're a Republican, you need to register to become a Democrat, and if you're a Democrat, you need to vote for Jeff Young. You need to actually show you have progressive roots, progressive values. At the very least, let's say Jeff Young gets 20% of Kentucky's vote. That shows that there are still progressive Democrats in this state. Kentucky has not lost and gone. Mitch McConnell took the state. The chickens voted for Colonel Sanders. So what do we have to do as Democrats? We've got to match this intensity. Sarah Palin says that it's war. This is war, Bill O'Reilly. You can't insult Sarah Palin. It's war. So at the very least, getting 20%, voting for Jeff Young never goes against you. Voting for Jeff Young means that you are in favor of working class people. You're in favor of taxing the rich, legalizing marijuana. You're in favor of helping Kentuckians get to the promised land, not to make Kentucky a big free-for-all for the corporations. When you vote for Jeff Young, you're voting for thoughtful conversations. You're voting for on the issues. You're voting for, you know, the right to vote. So you're voting for lower pollution. You're voting for alternative energies. You're voting for stop the racism. You're voting for, you know, you're voting for a lot of incredibly progressive, good ideas. Jack Conway won't ever say that he's going to tax the rich. Jack Conway don't even care about legalizing medicinal marijuana. Jack Conway is not a liberal. He's not a progressive. He's not a Democrat. Jack Conway needs to become a Democrat before any single Democrat out here votes for him. Even Mitt Romney's talking about how much he loves the poor. Jack Conway won't talk about loving the poor. Jack Conway will run away from his liberal progressive ideas and he will become a conservative. He's already shown that he's going to become a conservative. Yeah, and then he sued Obama. Obama give all that money for the for Kentuckians in the ice storm, the winter storm, the snowstorm. They declared a national emergency, and they got all that money from Obama. Obama is the one that helped with Obamacare. Obama just now passed $1 billion to go to Eastern Kentucky. $1 billion is going to go to Eastern Kentucky to help with displaced coal miners. Now, the coal miners who lost their jobs will find jobs. War on coal? No, Obama is not declaring war on coal. Kentucky's declared war on Obama because of his black skin. Of course there's racism in Kentucky. You want to vote against racism? Vote Jeff Young. You want to vote for racism? Vote for Jack Conway. He will continue to be racist. He will continue to employ his criminal war on drugs, attacking innocent, non-violent, victimless criminals. He's ruining people's lives. And why? Just because he's a liar, because he's a hypocrite. He sits there and says that medical marijuana is a narcotic. Jack Conway, you think medical marijuana is a narcotic? You think it's heroin? You think marijuana is heroin? It's our number one cash crop. We're a hill people. We've been moonshining the entire time. We still got moonshiners today. There's moonshiners, pillbillies, and there's potheads. You cannot stop the supply. Go after the demand, and the demand is education for everybody and more jobs. Make this a better state, a better climate, so that way people will become addicted to their dreams and addicted to being successful. Instead of saying to hell with life, I'm going to just be on the dole and I'm going to just do a bunch of drugs. Jack Conway does need to mention the Republican class war. There's only one candidate that's going to stop the Republican class war. There's only one candidate that's going to stop them. Only Jeff Young is going to stop the Republican class war. You won't hear Jack Conway talking about taxing the rich. You won't hear Jack Conway talking about strengthening unions and stopping the right to work comments. You won't see here Jack Conway calling out the Republican candidates when they say they're Republican bull, the Republican-ish. When they say they're Republican-ish, you won't hear Jack Conway do what Jeff Young has already done. Jack Conway's going to run to the right. He's going to run to the right. He's going to run to the right the entire election. And then the Republicans are going to run to the left, and then you won't be able to distinguish them. And guess what? Many times the two big parties, especially national duopoly, the two-party duopoly, they're both for big business. They're both for imperialism. They're both for corporations. The two-party system, it's one party away from being a dictatorship. Democrats need to become Democrats again. Kentuckians need to become Kentuckians again. Americans need to become Americans again. And the way Americans become Americans again is get involved in politics and pay attention to what is going on. Jeff Young is proposing, talking about the issues. We're talking about the issues. Why would you be afraid of a citizen wanting to talk about the issues? Do you not believe in any issues, Jack? Do you not have reasons for why you defend the issues that you maybe or may not have? You're against Obama and the EPA. Great Democrat. A Democrat that shits on Obama. Who else do you shit on? Every other Democrat that's out there? You don't get Kentucky, Jack. You don't get Kentucky. You don't. So, that's, in general, Jack Conway is not going to be good for Kentucky. He's not a true Democrat. He's not a true progressive. He's going to split the party. And at the very least, if 20% vote for Jeff Young, then we will see that there's a strong, robust movement here in Kentucky, and that will increase more people to get out and to run for office. But at the very most, if Jeff Young wins, you'll get the best state, the richest and greenest state Kentucky has ever seen. You have a thoughtful, he's a state worker, he's an environmentalist. He studied under Noam Chomsky. He's got a Noam Chomsky philosophy. He's very in tune with the impending Republican class war that's coming. When Jack Conway talks about lowering taxes, that's when you know it's over. When Jack Conway starts talking the same way that Republicans talk, yeah, I'm going to lower taxes, and I love you all. I love you all. I'm going to lower taxes. Okay, you're done. You're not going to speak about any progressive issues that Kentuckians have. And that's the reason Allison won. So I think there's no downsides to supporting the Jeff Young campaign. Even if, the best thing that Jack Conway, we're teaching Jack Conway a lesson. The best thing that Jack Conway can do, if he wants to win the election, if he wants to win my vote, is to pick up some of Jeff Young's planks. He cannot be, he is absolutely wrong when it comes to the war, imperialism, when it comes to the war on drugs, when it comes to not taxing the rich. He is Republican corporate through and through. And being Republican corporate through and through, you're going to have, you're going to lose every progressive stance that you ever had. Kentucky takes more than our fair share from the federal government. We can't take $1.50. Every dollar we send to Washington, D.C., we get $1.50 back. So for every single dollar that goes out there, we get $1.50 back. But we have Republican candidates, Republican senators that are saying, to hell with that. You don't get any more money, Kentuckians. You will starve to death. No more LIHEAP, no more Social Security for you, no more Medicaid, no more money for your schools. They will cut and slash all spending. They will cut your Medicaid. The Republican governors, Jack Conway, they will cut your Medicaid. They will cut Social Security, if they could get their hands on it. Since it's a federal issue, he won't have anything, but he did talk about cutting Social Security. Rand and Mitch are talking about cutting Social Security. So, cuts are going to happen, right? That's on its way. But are you going to lose your Social Security? Is the Social Security going to be there for me when I get older? Jack Conway is not a Democrat. Jack Conway is not the friend of the working class peoples of Kentucky. He's not a friend of the Kentucky people. If you if you doubt me, if you don't believe what I'm saying, next time you see Jack Conway, next time you hear Jack Conway talk, just ask yourself, how did Jack Conway make you feel? How did he make you feel? People forget what you done to him, what you said to him, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. That's Maya Angelou. And if he made you feel like you're a small, insignificant speck in this world, and that he's this big titan, everybody's just supposed to worship him and kiss his ass, he's an aristocrat. He makes you feel small because he thinks he's better than you. And his criminal war on drugs, this vicious class war that's coming, this very cruel class war that's coming, he said nothing about stopping it. And so, I'm done with Jack Conway. Jack Conway has lost my vote. And Jack Conway needs to pick up some Democratic planks. It needs to prove to me that he is more progressive than Drew Curtis. If Drew Curtis is more progressive than Jack Conway, I'm not voting for you, Jack Conway. So there's actually some interesting comments throughout here. I could read some of them. Yeah, I'll read some of them. Okay, so how about this for a change? Something. Why is Jack ignoring Jeffrey Young as a candidate? Good comment by Dennis Allen. He's like, I'm not voting for Conway. He's totally against medical marijuana for all Kentuckians. He absolutely is. His first miserable campaign was in 2002 against Ann Northup. His second, of course, is 2010 versus Rand Paul. His third miserable campaign is against Jeff Young, 2015, and still going on. He's a real loser. If he runs from the president, he doesn't deserve to be governor. He's just another hypocrite. Isn't Conway the incompetent candidate dumbass that Rand Paul beat? I've no use and will not vote for a Democrat that denies our President Obama. Adrian Bentley, listen to these Democrats that have moral convictions, that actually stand for something. I Love Mountains group, they can go fuck themselves. Fuck, the people that are running I Love Mountains. They are not allowing environmentalists to talk. When you are censoring environmentalists and people who support the EPA and support the mountains and doesn't support mountaintop removal just because you're an establishment Democrat, you're not a real Democrat. You're a Republican. You only care about power, wealth, money. You have no convictions. You have no moral core. Jack Conway is in favor of mountaintop removal. Jack Conway is suing the EPA. Why would Jack Conway show his face at an I Love Mountains rally? Why would he show his face there? Unless he's a hypocrite and don't mind being a two-faced hypocrite, he should be embarrassed and he shouldn't even show up. So, that's the attitude Allison Grimes took. Link yourself to National Democrats. Stick up for National Democrats. Don't run from your party. That would be me anyways. Right. Democrats have accomplished a lot. Obama's accomplished a lot. I've been hating Obama for 6 years on his imperialistic and Patriot Act, NDAA, wiretap, warrantless spy tap or wiretapping, NSA. I've been against all these things. I was against it for the last 50 years. For the last 50 presidents, I've been against these things. Barack Obama was a good president, very accomplished, got a lot done. Obamacare is his crowning achievement, and it's successful in Kentucky. Obamacare, the president's crowning achievement, is successful in Kentucky, which only had 8 Obama states. So Obama loved Kentucky, even though Kentucky didn't love Obama. Barack Obama just gave $1 billion out to the coal miners, the coal miners who have lost work and are out of jobs. Barack Obama's starting entrepreneur programs for people to start their own businesses. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be caring about the poor. You're supposed to be caring about the war, or the middle class, the middle, and the poor. And you should care about being in favor of peace. Jack Conway never met a war he didn't love. War on drugs, war on the streets, war in the Middle East. He's down with all of them. He is in favor of war. And how many people he's ruined people's lives. He's the criminal. If I'm sitting drinking a beer, minding my own business, and you try to make me into a criminal when I've done nothing wrong, and you've assaulted me, and you falsely imprisoned me, maliciously prosecuted me, and shamed me, you're the criminal, not me. Jack Conway is the criminal, and he's been a criminal for quite some time. For 7 years. He has no convictions. He stands for nothing. He's a slimy, two-faced politician, and he won't tell you the truth. He won't say anything about anything that he believes. He will take the simplest, easiest issues, take a softball, hit a home run off of a softball, and then think that, he hit a triple. So another Kentucky Democrat pretending not to be a Democrat. This is a surefire path to losing. You can't out-Republican the Republicans. That's what Jack Conway's already done. He was an advisor to Allison Grimes' campaign. They did the same thing. Allison ran to the right of Mitch McConnell. Allison says that she's against amnesty. Fuck the Mexicans. So she went racist. She was in favor of the Keystone Pipeline. She was in favor of guns. She loved the King Coal Baron corporations more than Mitch loved them. And she even got union support. And see, that's the thing. Liberals have nowhere else to go. So even though if you're a true progressive Democrat who believes in unions, believes in working class people, believes in treating people right, not ruining people's lives, helping elevate people, raise people up. You want to solve the drug problem? Make Kentucky rich. You want to solve Kentucky's pollution problem? Make Kentucky green. You want to solve Kentucky's child abuse problem? You want to solve Kentucky's poverty problem, education problem, healthcare problem? Vote Jeff Young. Vote a progressive. Speak for the issues you actually believe in. If you don't speak for the issues you believe in and you allow another politician to BS you, Kentucky, that's embarrassing. Mitch McConnell played Kentucky like they were stupid, and those chickens voted for Colonel Sanders. Rand Paul BS'd his way into office. He lied to Kentuckians with a bunch of BS, not the truth, just a bunch of crap. He wants to balance the budget and follow the Constitution. All right, I want to balance the budget, and I want to follow the American and Kentucky's Constitution. We need to get back to Kentucky's Constitution. Read that document. It expands our rights, and it also puts the corporations up against the wall. Kentucky Constitution is a very progressive document, but it's been gutted and revised and amended so many times. I don't know if anybody's even listening to the Kentucky Constitution. Are you paying attention to the Kentucky Constitution? It's the set of laws that dictate how we're supposed to be governed by, the representatives and each other. Have you paid attention? Have you read it? No? Why? Because some people have all the power and other people have none. Some people are Colonel Sanders and the rest of y'all are chickens. Jack Conway is not a Democrat. He's a Republican. He's a conservative Republican. At the very least, a conservative Democrat. And being a conservative Democrat in Kentucky, it just means that Democrats don't have a real choice. They don't have real options. They have to choose between, think of Allison and Mitch. They had one candidate really loved Keystone Pipeline. The other candidate really loved Keystone Pipeline. One candidate really loved their guns. The other candidate really loved their guns. The other candidate really loved the coal corporations. The other candidate loved the coal corporations. But one candidate wanted amnesty for Mexicans. Mitch McConnell was for amnesty. I had no idea. So he's actually more liberal than Allison. Mitch McConnell is the liberal. Did Allison even vote for Barack Obama? Or did she vote for John McCain? These Democrats sound very much like conservative Republicans to me. They need to tout their liberal, again, abortion, minimum wage, and the Employee Free Choice Act. You got the Republicans talking about the right to work right now. The Employee Free Choice Act is an opt-in to the union. So if you get a job, at any job, you have a right to be a part of a union. You have a right to vote to be a part of the union. That's what the Employee Free Choice Act is. So right to work, well, let's give employees freedom. So before we can opt out, we got to at least be able to opt in. So once we opt in into a union, then okay, maybe you have an option to opt out. But right now, unions are at 9%, and they want to try to bust the unions. They want to break the unions. So if unions are already established, people can get hired without joining the union. So it makes the union irrelevant and slowly bleeds the union dry. So I'm in favor of a mixed socialist capitalist system. So a mixed socialist capitalist system I think would be best for Kentucky. And it would be more honest. So unions are just a player in the free market. Bring our corporations here. Get our corporate HQ. Bring more businesses into our state. Make sure we have a strong middle working poor class, strong labor movement, strong unions. And then, let the free market dictate. Let's have a free market. He's not, he's going to, God, I hate how these Republicans pretend to be free market, but they don't say prostitution is legal, and they don't say that the legalizing marijuana should be legal. But that's the free market. Prostitution is the oldest job that we got out here. It's the oldest career in the book. It's in the Bible. Prostitution, and you're an adult. There's no victims. It's the free market. There wouldn't be prostitutes today, just like there wouldn't be marijuana all over the place. My God, there's marijuana in the small towns, in the rich towns, the big towns, small towns, in the countryside, in the cities, and probably up in the trees and in the creeks too. There's marijuana everywhere. You haven't got rid of marijuana, and you'll never get marijuana. It's the number one cash crop in Kentucky. You're not doing crap about the war on drugs. And so far, when any nation has tried the alternative to the war on drugs, it's always better than what the war on drugs were. The war on drugs has been a miserable failure, and when we've tried every single case of the war on drugs being a failure, it's time to pull that plug. And when every single case of alternatives to the war on drugs are successful, Portugal, Uruguay, Washington, Alaska, Oregon, Washington, D.C., Colorado, the Netherlands, North Korea. North Korea has marijuana that is legalized. North Korea is more progressive than Jack Conway. In North Korea, if you're black and you smoke a marijuana joint, you don't go to jail. If you're black in North Korea, you can stand out in public and smoke marijuana cigarette, and you won't go to jail. Do that in Kentucky, Jack Conway will beat the shit out of you, throw you in jail, arrest you, put all these charges on you, make you go through the court system, and then you have all these pretentious, snobby, stuck-up aristocrats looking down on you, judging you, being like, well, how are we going to solve this? Through love and compassion. It's a public health issue. Stop criminalizing people. It's not a crime. Stop it. Seriously, you bunch of hypocrites. Marijuana is less dangerous than alcohol. Y'all been lying. You've been lying to Kentucky people the entire time. I mean, how long? 100 years since 1917, marijuana's been illegal. We raised hemp in World War II. It's still the number one cash crop today. We got hemp fields. They're raising hemp right now. CBD, medical marijuana, is already legalized. And it's supposed to be a free country. Since when do you tell us what we can and cannot do with our own bodies? If I take a scissors and jab it in my own eye, are you going to make scissors illegal? I mean, my God, there's so many things that could be dangerous. There's fatty foods. There's caffeine. There's sugar. There's alcohol. There's, all the prescription pills. There's a pharmacy that sells, it's a drug store. We literally have a drug store in the middle of our towns that sells drugs, aspirins, vitamins. And these are good things. These help. These increase our freedom. Just like Obamacare increases our freedom. Because we have health insurance, we are more free to do what we want to do. We'll be healthy. We won't have to be spending all of our money on health insurance if we even get health insurance. Everybody gets covered, and it's at a reasonable rate. That's incredible. Thank you, Obama. Thank you for helping us out. All these people on food stamps. Obama helps people with food stamps. Obama helps feed your kids at the school. The federal government. $9 billion is what the state government spends. $9 billion is what the federal government helps Kentucky with. Without Obama, half of Kentucky's government would cease to exist. So say goodbye to Medicaid, say goodbye to K through 12, say goodbye to college, say goodbye to any social programs that you as a goodbye to salt trucks, goodbye to roads, goodbye to the police, goodbye to the firefighters, goodbye to the EMS. Goodbye to any social services that you want, because the Republican class war is impending and it's on its way, and it's going to gut the shit out of you. They're going to gut the shit out of you. They're going to chop you up, just like in Godfather 2 when they cut up the island of Cuba. You take the north part of Cuba, I take the south part of Cuba. That's what they're going to do with Kentucky. It's going to be a shock treatment. They're going to chop up Kentucky in little bitty pieces. We're all cheap labor for the corporations. Minimum wage will not go up. Unions will be busted. It'll be a capitalistic, dog-eat-dog, everybody against everybody type of Lord of the Flies scenario. The corporations want all the power. The corporations have all the power anyways, and now they want all of it. You know, the little bit that they didn't have, they want to take that little bit away from the people. That's what the corporations want. They don't care about you and I. And that's why we need a strong, robust union movement. Because without a union, you're just kissing your boss's butt. You're doing whatever the boss tells you to say. You have no leverage. Unions are the only way working class people have any leverage. So you won't hear Jack Conway talk about being against the right to work. You won't hear Jack Conway being for the Employee Free Choice Act. You won't hear him talk about abortion. You won't even hear him talk about the minimum wage. These are all issues Jack Conway are in favor of. These are all issues that he typically, that I've read that he's in favor of. But you won't hear him quote it. You won't hear him say it in the media. He's going to run to the right the whole time. You want to keep Jack Conway progressive? Vote for Jeff Young. You want Jack Conway to start standing up for progressive liberal ideas? Vote for Jeff Young. Threaten to vote for Jeff Young. Get Jack Conway on the right track. And if you want a rich, greener state with an honest person, I mean, could you imagine an honest person becoming governor? A regular Fred Tuttle, a regular Farmer Joe, regular you and me? That's where we need to be. We need to start occupying our government seats. Working class people need to start occupying government seats. We need to stand up and we need to become part of our own government. That's the next step for Occupy. Occupy the government seats. Working class people, we would have such a better Kentucky if working class people were in positions of power. Instead, only lawyers can become politicians. For the circuit court judges, for attorney general, for many positions, you have to be a lawyer just to be a politician. And a lawyer politician, we're going to trust these lawyer politicians. Lawyers are known for lying. Politicians are known for lying. So you double them up. Maybe, what, 2 negatives equal positive? You get lying lawyers together with some lying politicians, and you put all those lies together, and then somehow the truth pops out? Ah, come on. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Lawyer politicians. And he's from Duke University. He's a Duke fan. So, you know, he's Jack Conway isn't Kentucky. Jack Conway has been our Attorney General for quite some time. He didn't sue the pharmaceutical companies enough per Gatewood Galbraith. Jack Conway is a Republican when it comes to the racist war on drugs, throwing 6 more times black people into jail for the same marijuana possession crime that white people are also found guilty with. So it's a racist war on drugs. It's victimizing everybody, all 6 black folks and the white person. All of them are being victimized unnecessarily for not hurting anybody else. They didn't do anything. They are victimless. You know, I don't even want to call them criminals. They are the victims. They are victims to a criminal justice system. They are victims from the criminal Jack Conway. And you know, we need to have some type of morality. Unfortunately, politics seem to throw morality out the window. And I'm not even sure. I feel like I might be the last person with morality sometimes. There's people out there that are moral and do good for others. But I mean, just the rich. Why would we not tax the rich to make sure that they pay their fair share in taxes? They are paying 5.5%. They're paying half of what middle class taxpayers are paying. They're paying half. The rich are paying a half of a percentage more or less than the middle class of Kentucky. Why are middle class Kentuckians being hosed to pay for Medicaid, to pay for K through 12, to pay for college? And then they're going to, the Bush tax cuts, he's going to go ahead and give the wealthy, he goes ahead and declares wars and then gives the rich a tax cut. How do we pay for that war if the rich didn't pay for it? We borrowed it from China. Now China owns us. So when China comes over and just takes over Kentucky, just sets up a military occupation. I'm actually impressed with Japan. There's 150 Japanese companies in Kentucky, and they employ 40,000 people. The Japanese consulate, he understood a lot about Kentucky history, about the Civil War and Kentucky being in the Civil War. I was very impressed with it. So I think we should be amenable to foreign markets, get our HQ in here. We could do like Germany. We could do capitalism and we could do socialism better. So we can do capitalism better. We could do socialism better. Kentucky, we could just do better. So we should do better. I'd never try to link him with a Democrat because Jack Conway is not a Democrat. Why would I try to link you up with a Democrat? You're a Republican. You've been a Republican the whole time. You're pro-Patriot Act. You're pro-spy tapping. You're against our freedoms and the Fourth Amendment. You're against the Fourth Amendment. You're in favor of spying on our communications, on our computers, on our cell phones. You're against democracy. You're against freedom of speech. You're against. You're in favor of perpetual war. You never met a war you didn't like. You want, 900 military bases in 150 countries is what we got. Jack Conway would double that. He would find 1,800 military bases and make some new nations to put more embassies down. So, National has given a lot to fight with. Yes, we should use it. The National Democrats. Use the National Democrats. That is such good advice. Because, Obamacare is helped. Obama giving all that money to Eastern Kentucky. Are y'all still going to be racist, Kentucky? Obama just give you $1 billion. You're still going to be a bunch of backwards racist jerks? Stop it with the racism. Knock it off with the racism. I can't tell if your criticism is legit, if it's racist. There's too many racists in Kentucky. And Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, they both use Nixon's Southern strategies, right? Oh, who cares about the Civil Rights Act? They're against the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights! Martin Luther King. They're against it. These Republicans are radical. They will gut Frankfurt. They will gut the services. People will lose their jobs. And that's to make it a more corporate-friendly business environment. They want laissez-faire, casino-style, dog-eat-dog capitalism. Nancy Woodson Hazard. Conway has my vote, so Nancy Woodson Hazard. We know for sure that Nancy Woodson Hazard is in favor of war, Patriot Act. She doesn't care about democracy. She doesn't care about the racist war on drugs. She doesn't care about the poor. She doesn't care about working-class peoples. She doesn't care about abortion. She doesn't care about unions. She cares about nothing. She has no idea what she's talking about. The media told her to go ahead and vote for her Democrat, so she's going to do like a lockstep Democrat will do. Just vote Democrat straight ticket no matter what. Well, you got a better Democrat. You got a progressive Democrat. And if the Democrat Party ever meant anything, they would vote for Jeff Young. If they ever meant anything, they would vote for Jeff Young. If you don't mean to stand for anything, hurry up and go vote for Jack Conway.